Hello, everyone. We have Dr. Adil today with us, who is managing not just one business, but multiple businesses, who is from ZEI, which stands for Zaruni Investment, Emirates Investment. And it's a family-owned, business. They have investment over Stone Pine, Manzil, The Entertainer, Citizens, and they have also done the partnership with TVM Capital, Growball, Unisport City, Social Gym, Capzona, Granda, and much more. But more than that, Dr. Adil has started as an engineer. He has worked as chairman, he has worked as CEO, and right now in present the CEO of AI Zaruni Emirates Investment. So for this, I will ask Dr. Adil to just introduce himself to everyone for the people who don't know you. So, Dr. Adil, the stage is all yours. Give us a bit about you.
Thank you. My name is Adil Alzarooni, and I run a few groups that are involved in many businesses: education, healthcare, financial services, consumerism technologies, food and beverages, fintech, and health and well-being, and so on.
Nice. So, Dr. Adil, I can see you have been inside many industries, from real estate to fintech to finance now, and taking care. You are also writing books and stuff. What has been your favorite niche or industry where you enjoy the most?
I think I enjoy mostly healthcare and education. I think they help shape and add value to people. I like businesses that add value to people as well as make money naturally. This is at the end of the day, in order for you to bring up the best, you need to make money out of it so that it's sustainable. So yeah, I'm attracted to businesses that have high impact on people.
High impact on people. And how has your identity as an Emirati shaped the way you approach businesses and leadership globally?
I think we are, as Emiratis, tend to be driven by generally impact, like good impact with people. We are fortunate to have been part of a growing economy that has been rapidly changing, evolving in the last few decades. We are fortunate to have a country that is built on trust and fairness and coexistence. We are lucky in being in a country that is multinational, that tries to do good to people, and that these values have been instilled in us across out the decades, and it's second nature to us. So and that this definitely has helped shape me up as of an identity and way of dealing with people, as well as setting.
And what's the one pivotal moment in your early life that changed how you see success or failure?
I mean, we've been grown in an education system as well as in societies that see success or failure in a certain shape. I think after decades of doing business as well as working in jobs and traveling all around the world, I think success is a very personal thing. It's not a global phenomena. It's not a real phenomena. It has a lot to do with how do you perceive life and what are the values that you run with. And when it comes to failure, I think failure is like gravity. Everything fails in time. So, which means, in my opinion, the journey is more important than the destination. Because regardless of what you do, most probably things will fail, and what stays are emotions and experiences that you share with others, and the kind of support you give to people that whereby it enhances their quality of life.
Lovely, lovely answer. I'd say it has a lot of learnings in this answer if someone just hear it back again once again. And if, let's say, you are back in your younger self when you were in university and pursuing engineering, and that person saw this life right now which you are living and the things you are doing right now, would it surprise you? Or yeah, would it be, have you thought about it? You'll be doing all these things. Will it surprise you if you were that engineer student right now?
I don't think so. I think it was curiosity was always with me. I've changed fields so many times, and yeah, I'm probably where I'm meant to be. Not to say that when asked, Adil, going back, would you change any of your decisions? Did you regret any of your decisions? My answer is always I regretted each and every decision, but I wouldn't change any one of them. So the fact of the matter, you don't really know where your destination sits. You can only try, and where you arrive is, if it is what you always thought of yourself as to be great, if it is not, then don't blame yourself, because most people don't get to where they want to be. I would say more than 90% of people live a life whereby they never found themselves. So only the lucky, really, the exception is with people that find what they want to be and arrive to it. So yeah.
And from, I'll say, from Dunkin's to health startup to real estate, what do you look at when choosing to invest, or where to invest or what to build next? What are the things you look at?
It's experiences. So I like to develop businesses that can promise a better experience. I like to develop businesses that add value to humans' lives on daily basis. Even when I look at something like Dunkin', for example, it's a coffee and a donut business, but I don't see it as such. I see Dunkin' Donut as a happy moments company. It is there when you are celebrating your birthday, newborn, new job, new house, new whatever, and weddings. So we are there when you are happy. So this is the way I see my experiences. The businesses that I grow experiences. I don't purely just grow product and services.
And so, how do you balance both being a venture builder and a long-term investor? How do you, like, do you have to ever fight between both of these two mindset? Because venture builder is basically, taking a bet on something where long-term investor have to think very long and have much more data to read on. Whereas on the venture side, you take bet and have a lot of creativity going around as well. Should we try this or not? So, do you ever fight between these two mindset, and how do you come out of that decision?
Well, I think the answer to this revolves around 3 points. One is, uh, I believe good practice is that people need to invest in multiple asset classes, in multiple geographies, and in multiple currencies. And that is basic wealth management knowledge. But unfortunately, the mass were never educated and trained to think as such, whereby I blame society and uh, the education system for having not done that. That's on the one side. Second is to know oneself. I know that I'm a developer. I like building things. And there are people that are better than me in managing things. So when it comes to my long-term, more established businesses, I have uh, team members that are better than me in doing such, and they are giving me the space and the time for me to build new businesses and do ventures. And add to that, the third point is most businesses fail even if they succeed at a point in time. Meaning, feeling happy and thinking long term is good, but it's not enough. Even at long term, things fail. And therefore, not developing is the formula of ultimate failure. So you need to continue to develop if you ever want to leave something for the next generation that can help them with their lives, basically.
Even when you are, starting a venture, starting something, you see it as a very long term basis.
Yeah. And most ventures fail. 90% fail within the first 3 years. And if you do it in a certain way, 70% fail. But then there is a statistics. This is 200 years of know-how. And if you build things according and you follow according to statistics, not personal feelings, you would probably hit it in a better chance. But again, I mean, winning is not guaranteed. Failure is almost guaranteed. So
But the person you become after that failure is, I think, the winning from that phase. Because to win, you have to fail so many times that you become that
yeah,
person.
I, I always say winning is managing failures. If you know how to manage failures, make them cheap failures, you get to your wins. That's what I always.
Sorry.
But then most people are not trained to handle failure. Failure is a taboo. It's not a good thing. People will not. That woman will not marry you if you fail, and that boss will not hire you if you fail. But yeah, there's a disconnect in society and culture between the meaning of managing failures and success.
That's the right mindset I feel entrepreneurs should have to grow. Basically, you don't have to be soft when things are not going, things are going wrong. And instead of feeling bad, you should look at the data and see what are the best opportunities you can get out of this place. And there is always a way of, getting something good out of it. So you define that thing totally right there.
I hope so. Yes.
You talked about education. What do you think education is right now missing the way students are being taught on school? What do you think what things are missing there?
Well, basically, most schools are structured in a way to produce disciplined individuals. Whereby in business and especially entrepreneurship, you need a teams that know how to deal with chaos and know how to manage failures. Okay, so that's where I believe some of the educational offerings have to be ready to provide, especially knowing that now nursery age kids around 40% of them will have to be self-fed by the time they graduate, and therefore to be true to them and give them the right education experience, we are ought to train them on entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship entails teams, messiness, and management of failure.
Really lovely. And when you're focused, your school is focused on building entrepreneurship kind of culture in school. Why that mission is so important to you personally? Like,
Because I lived it, and I understand, and a lot of the likes of me have lived it, whereby we wish that the schools and the education system readied us in a better way to handle all the stress we went through. And and then you come to realize when you build a school and write curriculum that it's done in a way that's 200 years old for a very different purpose than what is needed today. And as responsible citizens in a society, I think the ones that come to a realization, it is our duty to share that realization and evolve humanity in our own niche way and see if we could add value to people's lives. That's basically why we do things.
and if you can redesign the education system in one bold move, what would it be for the kids in UAE?
I I I don't believe I have to reinvent education. I think people that speak in that fashion uh, are not really trying to help because you are against a huge engine that is trying to, and you are, you don't really need to do that. But basically, what I believe needs to be done is additional options. So give people options and different experiences to suit their desires of the future. Today, if if a young student learner wishes to be trained for entrepreneurship, there are not many schools that are ready to do that because they are run by academics, not by entrepreneurs. But then there are the ones that wants to be scientists and engineers and everything else, which a lot of schools are there and are able to help evolve and train such learners to attain to their dreams. And what I'm trying to do is to add to the variety of experiences there is in the education sector, whereby for the ones that would like to be trained for towards entrepreneurship and creativity, and then I'd like to be a school that is able to offer the likes. Yeah,
And how is it going till now?
I'll know soon because I have inspection happening now as we speak. In fact, so I trust in that my team has done a great job, and it shows in the eyes and the smiles of kids and parents, and with the support of a lot of agencies, the government, and the parents' trust in us. I think we have evolved really well, and only time will show whether what comes out of this school is of is a generation that is confident, resilient, uh, able to produce products and services that add value to society and humanity. This is what I think that the ultimate test is.
Lovely. And how do you personally measure whether a project, whether it's building, whether it's building real estate, whether it's building schools or startup, how do you measure if it is a successful project or is it not? Do you define a timeline when you look at the data, or do you define any other KPI measures which you guys track?
Yeah, I mean IRRs, the usual measures of time and return. That's important for anything to be sustainable. And then you have the experience and the satisfaction of people and the way they see value in what you do. I mean, they all come together either ways. People that are happy with what they receive as a product or a service, they'll happily pay for it and in fact pay with a margin. If they are not happy, you will not be able to make that money and will fail ultimately. So value is the ultimate Value is the ultimate reflection of a successful business. Are you able to give value? If the answer value beyond the money, the answer is yes, then you have a good business.
Saying value without, saying more value than just money. And you
If
invest
you,
in,
if you spend money and you feel that you are getting more value
yeah.
than the money is worth, then that is a good product and that's a good company.
And how does your psychology change when it comes to investing? Like, do you any of your decision change when you think of investing based on impact versus profit? Do you prioritize anything more?
No, profit has to be there's no other option than making sure that you are profitable. But if you don't profit of a business that gives good value, then that business will fail ultimately either ways.
So much.
Good businesses are businesses that give more value for the money. And if you are able to do that, then you have beaten competition. Because if you think you'll get more value for your money with your competitor, then you go for the competition. Why would you stay? Uh, so yeah, and value is beyond the money return. So if you go and buy a phone, but then one company gives you a better service than the other company, and you think that okay, I'm paying the same, or maybe I'm paying just a little bit more, but then I'm getting a lot of more service and more of attention and care, then you'd feel that you are getting more value for the money you spent on the product, and that means a lot. And this is how I gauge whether a business can be successful or not, if we are able to give more value than the money is worth.
Nice. Very well logically put it in the answer. And you work with entrepreneurs who work with you. What's the first mindset shift you focus on for that entrepreneur to take?
I mean, to get an entrepreneur needs to be hands-on, knowing numbers, dealing with statistics, taking responsibility, and feeling that this business is his, and taking the risks that goes with it. Where occasionally confusion happens is when an entrepreneur wishes to be also an employee. So have the best of both worlds, which is not a good. It's really hard to build. You'll probably need to choose: are you an employee or are you an entrepreneur? Because the mind shift and the risks are very different when it comes to whichever. So yeah, this is where I get a lot of struggle.
We've talked a good amount for the side of entrepreneurship. Let's talk about one more thing which you have expertise on. So you're releasing a novel this year as well, literally fantasy, romance based in Emirati culture. What inspired you to tell this story at this point of time?
Well, first I have my gang, my group of friends. They are very creative, inspiring, and they influenced me. That's really literally the definition of you are who your friends are. So I have a good group of friends that are highly intellect in their own way, very humble but established, and all of us are engineers. Actually, we're all together in college. But of us, there are acclaimed novelists, acclaimed poets, acclaimed social writers, and they pushed me to try and find a niche that sits well with me as a character. I never saw myself as an author in the sense that I'm more numbers driven and like more of a scientist than an author. So I gave it my shot, and it took me 10 years to evolve a fiction. I already have two books, scientific books the books, I mean, which I've authored a few years ago, and they've already established their place in their respective industries. But as a fiction, you are going against every fiction writer in the world, and there are many of us. And I thought of giving it a shot. I also wanted to deliver an Emirati experience and spread knowledge of our culture and traditions. As you probably know, a lot of foreigners living in Dubai, they would spend decades and they would hardly come to know an Emirati deep inside, because we are quite an isolated society, and we like to stay to ourselves, and we have our own peculiar traditions and habits. I thought of sharing some of that, just to bring in the notion that we're all the same in our own ways, and I think the book has delivered on that. It came out way more successful than I expected it to be. It's a bestseller now in Middle Eastern fiction on Amazon. And yeah, all the ratings have been 5-star to my surprise. And I'm proud of that. It brings me happiness, I have to say, because I've always seen, I've never really envied anybody for what they have, but the artists for their art, because I always saw art as to be a gift of God, and somebody that is creative artistically has something special with God. This is the way I see it. And to see that a book came out, fiction, against my nature and successful, brings me a lot of happiness, I would say.
For the viewers watching this, can you tell them a bit about what's inside the book?
So the book really revolves about the question of, or on the definition of love. Because I don't believe love is a true concept. It's a mix of feelings, and not two would share the same definition. So here, through the novel, I beg the question of what is love to every one of us, and I try to widen the thinking process about what love means to oneself. But then I put it in the context of an Emirati story with a lot of Islamic reflection and quasi-realistic setup. It's the Red Island is actually an island here in the UAE called the Red Island, or in Arabic, Al Jazeera Al Hamra. It's a town that has grown a reputation of being haunted. So, and I'm leveraging that traditional history or cultural specific, and I'm leveraging that in creating this universe that hosts humans and jinns and supernatural creatures, and build a story that would make you feel as if it could be you. And I think to a good degree I was successful in doing so.
Thank you so much for sharing. So one more thing, I'll go deeper, and this is going to be my last question. Many writers write books to be understood. What do you hope from the people understanding about your thought, through this story?
What do I expect people to come out of the story, or from the story, or
About the
of me, or
writer,
what?
which is going to be you, because it's totally opposite, not totally opposite, but you are a data driven person, more of statistics person, where this book tells and goes more on side of fantasies and stuff. So how do people know what's inside the writer's mind and what should they be coming out of there?
I mean, I'm probably an example of somebody that doesn't like to be boxed and be owned by titles, like being an engineer or a doctor or whatever. You can be whatever you want to be at any point in time, and I think uh, even if you are a data-driven guy, you can be a fiction guy. All of us have all of these sides of us. I think society has evolved for economical reasons to want to box people so that they are hyper specialized in one thing and one thing only, and they see themselves as that one thing for the rest of their lives. And sadly speaking, I mean, a lot of people, I believe, miss the opportunity of finding themselves or being something more than what they thought they would be, and they would shy away from even trying because they will be seen very negative. So a lot of people, I'm sure, once they start writing, for example, a novel, a lot of people around them will simply laugh at them. Yeah, and will not believe the case to be. But then what comes out could be something that would change people's lives, get them to think. Yeah, 1 out of 4 or so have cried reading the novel. I didn't expect that. So you could touch people's lives and feelings and in ways you never imagined you could through your work in life, whether it is in business or in fiction or many aspects of one's life.
This is gonna be my learning, because from this podcast and from your knowledge, because I personally as well try to be the best in that one box, which is my work. And this answer just made me realize I can be someone else, right? And I can have a lot of other things going around and be good at it. I just have to keep my eyes open and go and do that stuff. So
And
what,
manage your time. So it's a time management exercise.
yeah,
And have patience. So many a times when people ask me, what is your superpower? What's your talent? I say patience. It's only patience. I don't have any other considerable talent, but I have patience and determination.
yeah, looking at your graph career, that defines itself, that you have a lot of determination as well. Based on your all the experience and all your life experience, what would be one big advice for a 21-year-old kid who want to get inside entrepreneurship and create something out of just thoughts? At the start of it, it's all thoughts, and then you create something concrete out of it.
Don't be driven by your emotions, mostly. I mean, you need emotions to keep you up, but don't allow it to be your main driver. Data needs to be your main driver, and don't try to do it all by yourself, because businesses are not built predominantly by individuals. They are built by teams, so you need to recognize others' talents and be able to communicate your vision in a good way so that you bring them together. And when building businesses, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Don't take your father's and mother's money and gamble with it. You do multiple things, you be agile, you be flexible, and always put in mind that you will most of what you do will fail, and therefore you need to continuously have that determination to find your win. And this is how life goes on across the board. This is not only solely in business, this is also in personal life. Most relationships fail, most partnerships fail, and you need to cherish your wins and cherish your wins across the board, professionally and personally.